How's it going? So, how do you actually practice for League of Legends? And the answer is you do not. Because League of Legends is not a skill game. Right? Because if you are thinking, like I'm talking about, if we just go into your brain and ask you, what are you exactly thinking about? You're thinking about stuff like mastery, accomplishment, high level of skill that is impressive and considered legendary. League of Legends is not the correct game. Right? My entire channel, you can find a lot of videos. I explained it bazillion times. Right? Like, it's advertised as an esport, but it's not. It's not an esport. It's basically this. Something like in the range of this. You're clicking on the screen. You have cute characters inside the game. And you click on stuff. And some stuff happens on the screen, basically. Does that make sense? Kind of like you're just like clicking. And stuff just happens too. Do you see? Like it's kind of like this level. It's very primitive, simple. It's for children. Kind of like they're trying to move the game now from PC to mobile, right? So kind of like Wild Rift, because statistically mobile games are a lot more popular, probably by revenue, because you have to remember that smartphone is a toy. It's not a real kind of productivity tool. It's a toy. Kids love it, so they want to target more kids because adults are not going to spend money on... Adults don't care what their guy with the sword looks like. They are more interested in the gameplay or kind of like mastery concept. Do you know what I mean? But kids are kind of like, they're there for fun. They want to click on the screen and they want stuff to happen. You know, like some animation, something blowing up. Stuff like that, you know. Yay, let's go. That's kind of League of Legends. In a way, right? So, if you are like serious about mastery, I will repeat it again, League is not the game for you. You need to pick something like Counter-Strike, StarCraft, some esport that is actually a proper sport, where there's actually some kind of skill involved. Because fundamentally, League is just spam a lot of games, pick a tank, or some overpowered bullshit, and then just farm for 20 minutes. And hopefully the shitty players are not on your team, and your engagement optimized matchmaking blessed you with a good teammates. And that's it. That's pretty much the game, in a nutshell. And the more you do that, the system wants to reward you, the higher your rank. Like, and you have to understand that after like a long periods of time, you realize that that is delusional. You're not a master, right? Like, yes, you are to a certain extent faster than other people at picking up the monster and putting it into the net. But I mean, how much really skill in that involved? I mean, it's not really. Not, yeah, we can create a ladder of who is the fastest of picking up monster from the sea and putting it into, and then you can tell all your friends and your mommy that, hey, look, I'm number one at picking up the monster and putting it into the net, you know. Rank 1, well done. Okay, but like I said before, it's not mastery, it's not high level. If you want really something that is very difficult, StarCraft, Brood War, 10,000 hours just to be able to play on ASL level. Minimum. Right? StarCraft 2 is also the same. Like, I'm kind of biased because I only know kind of 2 games, which is, well, kind of shooting games and StarCraft, right? So, StarCraft is this. Yeah. Like, but it's very difficult. Like, very difficult game to play. It's fun to watch, but I mean, playing it, very challenging. Right? You can also do proper sport, like tennis, I don't know, basketball, football, right? But do not be mistaken, League of Legends is not a skilled game, okay? Just to make it clear, because Some people the killer question I have for people who say that it has a skill is, what is the behavioral meta of top challenger players to practice and perfect the game? Is it practicing specific skills in isolation and watching replays, right? Or is it just spamming shitloads of games? And the answer is spamming shitloads of games is the meta. Everybody does that. Nobody is watching games and watching replays because they understand that the impact of that, it does work, but the impact is like 5 to somewhere around 5%. You will win more games if you do that, but you are better off spending time spamming games. It's much better than spamming, because to watch a replay is usually, I'm talking about properly watching replay, is like twice as long as playing the game, because you have to look at the mistakes that you have done. You have to study what is the correct behavior next time. So, for example, I don't know, where do you ward at 3 minutes? Do you know what I mean? But you can just spam more games, and that will give you better return on investment, because you have to understand, how do people behave. It's a learning model of where there is more reward. If there was more reward in practicing and perfecting a skill, people mostly would do that. Like if you watch StarCraft players or some basketball players or whatever, right? Most of the time they behave where they spend most of their time practicing, right? They're not really playing, they're practicing specific things that then transition into game on autopilot. Whereas in League of Legends, that the meta is not this. It's not to practice. The meta is to spam games, right? Otherwise, if you kind of reward, like, how to explain it? If time spent practicing would transition you to a better player and have higher rank in League of Legends, for example, right? You would practice more than you would play, because the return on investment per hour of rank is higher, right? Like in basketball, for example, when you're a complete beginner, the best thing you can do is to get your athleticism up, which is through plyometrics, right? Get your endurance up so you can if you feel tired throughout the game, that's bad, right? You cannot perform. And then get your ball handling skills up, because that will transition into you being superior player without even playing. I'm talking like, if you take a child 1 and just put him into practice ball handling, endurance, and get your physical ability up, like so you're physically very strong and fast, right? And you take a dude who was just playing, it will be impossible to compare the two players. While the player B, who was just playing, would be so bad relative to player A, it would not even be a competition. They would be playing in completely different leagues, right? There's actually leagues like I never played on those levels, but one of my it was one division lower than but this was like, I'm talking like one division lower and the shittiest team, and my coach knew this guy who was like the organizer. I think he just wanted to make some money, and they invited us. We were like the top 3 team in Estonia, right, for basketball, and we had to play. I had to play against those shitters, right? And these kids, all they do is just play. That's all they do. They don't want to train. They don't want to run. They don't want to do plyometrics because it hurts, right? All they did was just play basketball for fun, right? And the coach told us, okay, we cannot dribble, so he took away our ability to dribble, right? We cannot two-step, we cannot basically drive to the basket. We can only play with our weak hand, which is the left hand for me, right? And we have to shoot from the key, which is like, I don't remember what the key is. It's like 5 meters away, 6 meters, right? And we were still absolutely decimating them. Like they couldn't even outbound the ball. They were so bad. Do you understand like the difference? So we're talking about, that's player B, the guy who plays the game all the time and he doesn't want to practice. And I was the player A who was constantly practicing, perfecting skill in the gym, right? In fact, our playing time was very. Some training sessions we would come in, we would never play at all, at all. We would just practice dribbling, practice shooting, practice running, practice one-on-one driving. It's like playing game is so technically sometimes irrelevant that it doesn't transition into. You do it for fun. Like the only reason why coach started doing it is because some shitty players, they were bench players basically. Their parents started complaining that he's not getting enough fun. Dude, if you want to, like, you have to understand, if you want mastery, accomplishment, and high skill, right, it's not always gonna be fun. It's gonna transition to being fun over time when you start getting pleasure from training sessions, accomplishment, yeah, but like in the it's not buzz. Do you understand? It's not buzz. Like the shitters, they want the buzz. Kind of like they want Coca-Cola, they want the energy drink, they want the ice cream, right? Whereas the elite players, I'm talking about like players that are like really really high level, they want different type of emotion, and that is pleasure, right? It's not like it not really pleasure, but more like fulfillment. And I watched the video. I'm actually gonna link it in the description. Let me find it. One sec. Yeah, it's this video by Healthy Gamer. Kind of like everything he said I already knew, but he kind of nailed the serotonin for me. Like serotonin is a type of chemical that's in your brain. I used to think it was endorphins, but endorphins is slightly different. So serotonin is slightly different. Like dopamine, high levels of dopamine, they give you buzz. They give you that chemical reaction of like, yeah, right? You're just like high. Whereas serotonin and endorphins, they are different type of brain chemistry. It's more like the best way to describe it is fulfillment. You feel very good about yourself. It's not high, it's just fulfillment, right? It's just this, it's a different feeling. So masters tend to have this feeling, whereas the shitters tend to have dopamine and high. Does that make sense? So if you're looking for fulfillment, League is the worst shit you could do to yourself. The worst. I don't think there is anything worse than this, to be honest with you. The only thing I can think of the worst thing ever is going into the nightclub. Like people advertise nightclubs as being believe me, I tried it multiple times. Jesus Christ, it's possibly the worst experience ever. It's just so bad. So bad. And League is kind of like in that category as well. It's like if you're really looking for mastery, it's probably the worst shit you could possibly attempt, right? So, what can you substitute it with? Well, if you're serious, probably shooting games. If you like strategy like StarCraft is another one, right? You can play. Or proper sports as well. Now, there is a bit of a hack. I'm not sure if you can do it, but like one dude told me, I never tested it, so don't quote me on this, but if you go into the gym and your body hurts, you can take Nurofen. Right, Nurofen removes the pain, so you can continue to go to the gym. But I don't know. I haven't tried it myself, but some people say you can do it. This guy said you can just take it. So it removes a bit of growing pains, if that makes sense. So you see training sessions, going to the gym and accomplishing things like is a little bit easier because you can remove the growing pains with Nurofen. But I haven't. I haven't tried it. I don't know what the medical implication of this shit is, right? It might also affect your liver. I'm almost certain it will affect your liver if you just use it too much, Anyway, summary. If you're looking for mastery, accomplishment, high level of skill, League of Legends is not it. That's it. You need to swap a game. Okay? It's not a skill game. Okay? So don't make the mistake of thinking that you're gonna, practice your CS or practice your positioning or practice doing XYZ. Maximizing your grasp with Fiora is going to transition to anything. It's not, because it's a game for kids. It's rigged because of engagement optimized matchmaking, and most of the games are already decided. And it's a shit game, honestly. It's popular, but it's a shit game, right? I quit it like long time ago, like 3 years now, I think, maybe 4. I played like 1-on-1, but I mean 5-on-5 where I was queuing up to actually rank up. Oh, 5 years maybe I haven't done that, right? I did some experimentation here and there. Like I wanted to test the engagement optimized matchmaking. I wanted to test reverse, where I lose a lot of games and see if the system is gonna push me to 50%, which I already done. And yes, it does work 100%. If you start playing like shit, your teammates gonna start to become freaking fakers. Right? It got to the point where we had one dude, Aurelia, and he just won the whole game alone, basically. I was thinking to myself, holy shit, man. How can these players be so bad, and why is it so how is that statistically possible that all the 5 shitters were on the same enemy team and I got all the good players? Like, how is that possible? That's because the system wants you to win, right? So it's rigged. Alright, so again, if you're looking for mastery, stay the hell away from this game. This game is not it. League of Legends is not the game. You need something different. Take care.